Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandot Pranams.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Audio, video, both are clear, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. We welcome all of you for the today's morning program, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. And today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Haridev Krishna Prabhu, and he will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 14th chapter, and the text 4. Over to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So we'd like to welcome all the devotees for today's Bhagavatam discussion. So we'll start with prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udhirayet Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So I would like to seek the blessings of all the devotees before we begin. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 14th chapter. And the chapter is entitled The Material World as the Great Forest of Enjoyment. And the verse is verse number 4. So this is in prose order. We shall recite the verse, read the word-to-word meaning, translation and purport. Then we take some points for discussion. यथा हि अनुवत्सरं कृष्यमाणम् अपि अदग्धबीजं क्षेत्रं पुनर्येवावपन्नकाले एवावपन्नकाले गुल्मतृण विरूभिर्गह्वरम् इव भवति एवम् एव गृहाश्रमः कर्मक्षेत्रं यस्मिन् न हि कर्माणि उत्सीदन्ति यद् अयं कामकरण्ड एष आवसतः. So the word meaning, yatha, just as, he, certainly, anuvatsaram, every year, krishyamanam, being plowed, api, although, adagda bijam, in which the seeds are not burnt, kshetram, the field, punaha, again, eva, certainly, avapana kale, at times for sowing the seeds, gulma, by bushes, trina, by grasses, virudbihi, by the creepers, gahvaram iva, like a bower, bhavati, becomes, evam, thus, eva, certainly, griha ashrama, family life, karma kshetra, in the field of activities, yasmin, in which, na, not, he, certainly, karmani utsidanti, fruitive activities disappear. Yet, therefore, I am this kama karandaha, the storehouse of fruitive desire. Eshaha, this avasataha, abode. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Every year, the plowman plows over his grain field, completely uprooting all weeds. Nonetheless, the seeds lie there and, not being completely burned, again come up with the plants sown in the field. Even after being plowed under, the weeds come up densely. Similarly, the Grahastha Ashrama, family life, is a field of fruitive activity. Unless the desire to enjoy family life is completely burned out, it grows up again and again. Even though camphor may be removed from a pot, the pot nonetheless retains the aroma of the camphor. As long as the seeds of desire are not destroyed, fruitive activities are not destroyed. Purport. Unless one's desires are completely transferred to the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the desire for family life continues, even after one has taken sannyas. Sometimes in our society, ISKCON, a person out of sentiment may take sannyas, but because his desires are not burnt completely, he again takes to family life, even at the risk of losing his prestige and disgracing his good name. These strong desires can be burnt out completely when one engages in the service of the Lord in devotional service. Hare Krishna. So, offer prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam tam sajivam sadvaitam savadutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिते नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरवतुषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा So I again seek the blessings of all the devotees before we begin so that I speak as I've heard from superiors without any deviation. Hare Krishna. So the section here is actually 13th and 14th chapter are almost like repetition. In the 13th chapter, King Rahugana is being instructed by Jadabharat through the analogy of a merchant entering into the forest. And it is said in the Bhagavatam that the best form of heart transformation can happen when the uh, speaker is not just highly qualified but also really sincere, and the hearer also should be serious and sincere. So we see how highly qualified both of them were. That allegorical story in the 13th chapter, uh, Jadabharat is explaining to Maharaj Rahugana on how a person tries to enter the forest trying to get some goods which are freely available in the forest and then come out and sell. In order to make money and profit, he goes into the forest, but as he goes, he encounters so many obstacles. He goes deep into the jungle, lot of fear, so many mosquitoes biting him, all that, just for a little bit of easy profit or sense gratification, like that. So after explaining that, immediately Maharaj Rahugana understood that, yes, I will have to come out of this forest of material enjoyment. Here, 14th chapter, the same thing is repeated. Why? Because Parikshit Maharaj, understanding that not everybody in future may be intelligent enough to understand each part of the analogy, Parikshit Maharaj is asking for an elaboration from Shukdev Goswami. Can you please elaborate on each of the analogies that Jadabharat spoke to Maharaj Rahugana? Because it is not very clear to me like that. So, therefore, in the 14th chapter, Shukadev Goswami is elaborating what each analogy means. And here, the fourth shloka, Shukadev Goswami is actually speaking about especially how difficult it is for the people in the Grahastha ashram who are so accustomed to having comforts, luxuries, sense gratification, etc. How comfortable it is that what is that? They become so conditioned and habituated that sometimes a person may take up to renounced order, but because the desires are so deep rooted, and one has also been indulging in sense gratification, comfortable living, etc., one has a tendency to go back again to the same grahasthashram, even at the cost of disgrace and uh, getting a bad name for himself, like that. So it is a warning for all of us also in the grahasthashram, how one coming out of sense gratification is difficult for everybody, and each of them have their challenge. And for a grahastha, it is not just so. Brahmacharis, once I was hearing, I think from Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, uh, he said brahmacharis and grahasthas. Uh, Grahasthas may indulge in sense gratification, brahmacharis may suppress sense gratification, but both of them are eventually going to not help that person. Simply suppression will also eventually lead to an outburst of sense gratification. And simply indulgence will also not give any detachment. Even in the conversation between Daksha Prajapati and Narada Muni. Actually, Daksha Prajapati initially he begets children, Hariyashvas and all, and then he sends them to the forest to do tapasya. And first time he sends children, Narada Muni preaches and makes all of them into sannyasis. Second time he preaches, again all of them go become sannyasis. Then Narada Muni was thinking, oh, the children have got delivered. Now I should go and meet the father. And Daksha was fuming with anger because all my children who I had sent to the forest to do tapasya so that they can come back and rule and increase the population, because Prajapati, that was my responsibility. I want my children also to do the same. But instead of doing that, you have forcefully made them to take sannyas. And that time, Daksha Prajapati chastises Narada Muni. He says, my children have not even indulged in sense gratification. Generally, the Varnashram is such that there is Brahmacharya, then there is Grahasthashram, where one gets sense gratification, but also takes all the trouble of family life. And when one goes through that experience, naturally they get detached and then they eventually become sannyasis. That is the natural order. But you have forcefully made my children to take sannyas. They haven't even got the experience. So there is a risk that they may fall down because they have not seen what Grahastha ashram is. That hankering may be there. So there Narada Muni explains. If simply indulgence in sense gratification can give one detachment, then all the grahasthas should eventually become sannyasis. But that is not happening. Hardly anybody is becoming a sannyasi. Why? Because mere indulgence is not enough to give detachment. One may indulge in sense gratification. One may also see the pains of the grahastha ashram, of taking responsibility, raising a family, earning money, fighting out with all envious people just to compete in this world of cutthroat competition. So many difficulties one may see, but if one is not guided by spiritual values and one does not get a higher taste by rendering devotional service, he's even though he sees all this trouble, for that one drop of little bit of happiness, he says this is perfectly okay and never gets detached from that. So Narada Muni says, don't think simply by indulgence one will get detachment. Simply by suppression also one will not get detachment. So we cannot express freely and expect detachment. We cannot suppress and expect detachment. So expression or suppression is not the way, but one should learn to transcend these desires. That is what Chaitanya Charan Prabhu often says. And here Prabhupada is elaborating how one can transcend these material desires. And Prabhupada is explaining from the words of Srila Narottam Das Thakur in the purport. The translation में it is said, every year the plowman plows over his grain field. completely uprooting all the weeds. And nonetheless, if the seeds are not completely burnt, sometimes we see they burn once the harvest is done, they burn the entire field. Why? Hoping that all the seeds are burnt. If it is not completely burnt, even though we plow and we plow quite deeply, still, uh, what is that? Still, the weeds come up densely. So they're saying even after being plowed under, the weeds also come up densely. What is this plowing deeply? Plowing uh, deeply. If our desires are not burnt, we may try to plow our heart by cultivating lot of spiritual knowledge, etc. But that sincerity of wanting to give up material sense gratification, if that is lacking, even with all the scriptural knowledge, etc., we see rather than the seed of bhakti growing, the weeds may come up more densely. One may become proud of his scholarship, or even we can say plowing deeply means, it is said in the analogy Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives the analogy of the seed of bhakti being planted, right? And we know that plow means represents Balaram. So plowing means taking the words of spiritual master and hearing the words, memorizing, repeating, rendering service to spiritual master, etc. But the desire should be to get the blessings of the spiritual master and please the spiritual master, and eventually, so that all the desires are completely vanquished. So somebody may want to mm, repeat the words of spiritual master for his own glorification. Somebody may want to do some service to become popular. So even though we try to plow deeply, like trying to connect to the spiritual master, but the sincere desire to actually please the spiritual master and come out of sense gratification is very important. Otherwise, we may do a lot of scriptural study, we may do lot of service, but rather than the bhakti growing up, weeds will grow up more densely, like that. So both are important. We render lot of service, we do lot of take the word, hear, read, chant, but along with that, our sincere desire on why we are doing, the purpose should be reinstated again and again, that way. So then the weeds will be removed completely. Similarly, in the Grahastha ashram, family life, which is a field of fruitive activity, mm, unless the desire to enjoy family life is completely burnt out, it grows up again and again. So even we see when a person takes to sannyas order, Prabhupada writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are four orders of the sannyasis. The first is Kutichaka, then Bahudaka, then Parivrajachari, then finally Paramahamsa. So if in that, if you see, the first platform of sannyas is Kutichaka. What is this Kutichaka? Kutichaka means this person has taken sannyas, but still he has taken a kutir outside, but still it is very close to his home. And daily his parents, I mean his wife comes and gives him food, or his children come and give him food, and they're not living in the same house, but the relationship is still there. And generally we see, because family life is so deep rooted, the attachments. So then, even when one tries to take sannyas, the old attachments are there. So it is not very much respected. Kutichak. We see even in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, when Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu were once doing Sankirtan in Navadvip, one sannyasi called both of them to his home, and he said, "I'm a sannyasi." Then he um, got he said, both of you please sit, you're chanting so nicely, you're dancing, you're great Mahabhagavats, uh, and I would want to serve you. And then he said, he asked two plates of prasadam to be served, and suddenly a lady comes out. Then Mahaprabhu asked, who is this? She's my wife, he says. So then Mahaprabhu was thinking, what kind of sannyasi? He's saying sannyasi, but wife is there. And then after that, Mahaprabhu said, no, no, if it's not offered to Krishna, we will not have prasad. And then after that, he asked, would you like to take some bliss? And Mahaprabhu was asking, what is bliss? And then Nityanand Prabhu explains, bliss means beverage, drinks. That way. Mahaprabhu was shocked. Huh? What is this? He's calling himself a sannyasi, but doing all things of sense gratification. So that is how it is very difficult for one to give up. And in the translation, the analogy is mentioned that even if a pot is initially having camphor and we remove the camphor, still the aroma of camphor remains for a very long time. So unless the uh, smell goes off, when will the smell go off? For a prolonged period of time, we have to keep washing it very intensely. So, same way, we have to practice bhakti for a long time with very sincere desires. Then all our desire for sense gratification will go away. And in the purport, Prabhupada is uh, mentioning these strong desires can be completely burnt when one engages in the service of Lord in devotional service. So here Prabhupada is quoting from Srila Narottam Das Thakur on how all out of these six anarthas, lust, greed, kama, krodha, lobha, lust, anger, greed, then uh, uh, kama, krodha, lobha, mada, madness or pride, mada, matsarya, envy, and moha, illusion. So, to Srila Narottam Das Thakur says that each of these anarthas we can try to overcome by dovetailing it in Krishna's service. Uh, lust, Narottam Das Thakur says, Kama Krishna Arpane. So, how to overcome lust? By doing lot of service for Krishna, because all the energy must be completely burnt up in serving Krishna. When one has no further energy left in the body, then one will not be able to uh, indulge in lust like that. So, even in the initial days of ISKCON, when Srila Prabhupada was uh, just beginning the movement, all the devotees, they were able to so easily give up sense gratification because they were 24 hours engaged in serving and pleasing Srila Prabhupada. So it was so easy for them to give up all lusty desires, all previous conditionings, baggage, etc. So same way, when our heart is also strongly filled with desires to serve, then one can overcome lust. And what about anger? Anger can be dovetailed, just like Hanuman dovetailed his anger in destroying the demoniac people. So anger can be dovetailed. We can use anger to destroy people or to counteract people who are against Vaishnavas. So if somebody is blaspheming Vaishnava, we can become angry with them. Somebody is torturing a Vaishnava, we can become angry with them. So in that way, we can dovetail our anger. And greed, how to dovetail our greed in Krishna consciousness. One can be greedy for spiritual progress, spiritual advancement, spiritual practices. In fact, the word ISKCON, Prabhupada has taken from that famous shloka. Krishna, but Krishna Bhava, Ras. I'm not able to recollect the Sanskrit one. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavanam Mrita Matihi. Like that it comes. Am I correct, Prabhuji? This one? Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavana.
यतामपि
Ah,
कुतो अभिलभ्यते.
yes. Kuto abhi labhyate. So there, Prabhupada has actually taken the word ISKCON from that shloka where saying Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavana Matihi. The consciousness, Mati, will be on Krishna. Not so easy. It is not easy because now the Mati, what is a Griha Medi? Griha Medi means his Meda or intelligence is only centered around how to keep the family life together like that. So it's not easy to get mati on Krishna. But how is it possible? Even with Koti Janma Sukriti, if we do Koti Janma Punya, then also it is not possible. Then what is the solution? There it is said, Tatra Laulyam Api Ekahi Moolam. The only price is one has to have intense greed that. um I want to purify my heart. I want to please devotees. I want to render more service like that. So that greed should is the only price by which one can get Krishna consciousness. Even once Srila Prabhupada's one of the disciples on the morning walk, when Prabhupada was just about to enter his car, he asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what is the only thing required for spiritual advancement? So then Prabhupada also said desire or greed. So more we have greed to advance, that is the only thing required. So that way greed can also be dovetailed in Krishna's service. Pride. How can pride be dovetailed in Krishna's service? Many are proud of working in Google, working in Amazon, working in Microsoft, etc. One can also be proud of being the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as we see in the songs of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, where he is saying, Sarvasya Tomar Charane Sampiya Tomara, this one, Sarvasya Tomar Charane Sampiya Tomara. Gare in your home. Amit Tumito Thakur Tomara Kukur. So you are the master in my house. I am the dog in your house. That means I am your servant in the house. And just like the dog is very eager to do everything in order to get the blessings and I mean mercy of the master, I will do all things and protect your house from all other things. I will stay awake day and night and render service. So that is the mood Bhakti Vinod Thakur is bringing there. So we can be proud of getting an opportunity to serve the greatest person, to become the servant of pure devotees, like that. So even in one lecture, I remember in Fiji, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, that video lecture, there Maharaj was saying, this Kanti Mala means I am the dog or servant of spiritual master. So every time when we look at Kanti Mala, we can feel proud and fortunate that we are getting a chance to serve pure devotees and can be proud of being sheltered in the parampara system where unadulterated pure spiritual knowledge is given. So in that way one can dovetail one's pride in Krishna consciousness. Envy, Narottam Das Thakur says, can never be dovetailed because the root cause of us falling down into the material world is envy. So envy can never be dovetailed. We have to give up envy. We came here because of envy for Krishna, and when there is envy for Vaishnavas or any other person or Krishna, one can never go back to the spiritual world. And illusion, how to dovetail that? Uh, I'm not able to recollect actually what Narottam Das Thakur says. So like this, uh, uh, one can try to dovetail one's strong desires. And I was hearing one lecture of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj on the same shloka. So Maharaj was saying about the example of Ravana. Uh, so here it is somewhat similar. Although the plowman plows over and over every year, still weeds are coming up. Same way, when Lord Ram wanted to kill Ravana, he took his special crescent-shaped bows, chanted the invocation mantra, and then released the arrows. Crescent-shaped arrows, and then chanted the invocation mantra, released the arrows, and it cut off all the heads of Ravana. But instantly, heads kept coming, and this happened several times. Then, spiritual master Agastya Muni said, Agastya Muni guided Lord Ram that he has nectar stored in his uh, heart or nabi kind, when Vibhishan says that. And then the Aditya Hridaya mantra was chanted, and eventually Lord Ram uh, kills Ravana and he falls down to the ground when the nectar got completely dried up. Same way, whatever austerities, whatever other things we take, um, uh, that for some time, like I remember in people go to this Shabarimala. So when I was in ninth standard, I had gone to Shabarimala for the first time. It was a very good experience. 48 days intense vrata we did. That was the first time I was doing some little bit of austerity. So I felt very nice not taking outside any food and taking bath 2 times a day, going to temple morning and evening. It was very spiritual experience. So I was feeling very nice. And in our group, there were many others also who were going to the Shabarimala for more than 10 years, 16 years. So we call them as Guru Swami, etc. So once the 48 days vrata was over, we took darshan. Then that very night, we stayed in the house of one known person in a place called Palakkad, me and my father. And then the next morning, when we were we were woken up by loud music of all filmy songs, Hindi, etc. And we were surprised from where is this sound coming after 48 days of vrata. And then we understood after the darshan, all the people, majority of them more aged than us, more senior in terms of number of years going there, etc. All of them, moment darshan is over, they were back to their normal routine or normal life. And they were all watching Z music, Z TV, all Bollywood, Hollywood dance, etc. So we were surprised that there is vrata done, but the desires are so deep rooted. After the 48 days, again it springs up like that. So, one other thing we can remember when I recollect this incident, I also, my appreciation for devotees increase a lot. So, who are our devotees whom we are dealing with and finding faults day in and day out? These other people for 48 days they do vrata and we call them as Swami. We call them as Swami because we understand they are very spiritual now, like that. And after 48 days, they are back to their normal life. And our devotees throughout life, they have given up eating onion, garlic, non-veg, coffee, tea, and they're living a pure lifestyle. And we are finding fault with them. And we are calling outside my 48 days vrata, we call them Swami. And our devotees, we call them hypocrites, we call them fake devotees. So many names we give for devotees. So our appreciation for devotees should increase because the lifestyle that they are leading whole life, they are trying to live for the pleasure of Vaishnavas, in accordance to the words of the spiritual master, with a desire to purify all the dirty desires. So that is sadhana bhakti. So how much we should be very uh, respectful towards devotees, that is something that we can ponder upon also. So, like Ravana, the Amrit has to be completely dried up. The desire has to be completely dried up. So, we do all sadhana. Even Bhakti Vinod Thakur says in Grahasthashram, in that famous bhajan, Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu. Uh, uh, Shuddha Bhakta. uh, Charanarenu, Bhajana Anukula. There he says, Madhavatiti Parama Siddhi. So, how in Grahasthashram one can take small steps, although one is in all this comfortable situation, what are the ways by which slowly one's body can get accustomed to reducing sense gratification? Uh, uh, Simple things like whenever there are Ekadashi Vrata there is Janmashtami. On all these days, one observes very, very strictly all these rules and regulations. His Holiness Jai Pataka Maharaj personally encourages all his disciples to do Bhishma Panchak. Many of them do Chaturmasya. So while doing all of them, uh, we should remind ourselves these things are done so that my body can eventually get detached from the continuous need for sense gratification or craving for sense gratification. And uh, eventually, when sense gratification reduces, then one can do bhakti more and more with resolute determination. So, with that hope and prayer, we perform all these rituals, austerities, etc. That way. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, personally in Mahaprabhu's Leela, uh, respected both sannyasis and grahasthas. It was not based on the dress or the renounced order. Of course, formality means we respect the renounced order also. Even Prabhupada would say, if you see a Mayavadi sannyasi, you should offer obeisances. And if you do not do that, you will have to fast for the entire day. So naturally, we respect the renounced order for the detachment, for their give voluntarily giving up all other things in order to serve Krishna. They have dedicated their lives for Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would also appreciate grahasthas who were very highly elevated in consciousness. Like Mahaprabhu would ask Shivananda Sen, why this year your wife has not come to Jagannath Puri? Then Shivananda Sen said, because she just gave birth to a child. And Mahaprabhu was very happy. So he said, very nice. You should name him as Paramananda Puri Das. And later on, when in the next yatra, when they brought this Puri Das, Mahaprabhu made Puri Das suck his toe and in that way gave him mercy. So Mahaprabhu in fact says to Shivananda Singh, all your family members are my own family members. Same thing he says to Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur, whoever is related to you, I am bound to give them mercy. He gave the Muslim tailor who was tailor stitching clothes for Srivas Thakur mercy. He gave his anyone who's related to Srivas Thakur, the servant Dukhi, he gave him her mercy like that. So this is Mahaprabhu. He sees that if in the Grahasthashram one is sincerely trying to uh, increase one's attachment to Krishna and decrease one's attachment to sense gratification. He is also very much recognized, appreciated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we can pray to the Acharyas, to the Supreme Lord, that our desire also uh, can reduce, as we sing in that famous song, Gauranga Bolite Habe, Pulaka Sharira, Hari Hari Bolite, Nayane Babe Nira, Arakabe Nitai Chander, Karuna Hoibe. When will the mercy of the spiritual masters and Nityananda Prabhu come on me? And when that comes, samsara vasana mora kabe tucha habe. And that when that comes, naturally one will feel the samsara vasan is very tucha, very insignificant, like that. Vishaya chadiya kabe. When will I give up sense gratification? Shuddha habe mana. When will my heart become pure? Kabe hama herabo Sri Vrindavana. When all this happens only, I will actually be able to experience what is Vrindavan Dham, like that. Then Sri Rupa Raghunatha Pade hoibe akuti. Kabe hama bhuja bose jugala priti. When will I be able to carefully study the books of Srila Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Bhatt, Raghunath Das Goswami, etc. In the same way, we pray, when will I be able to study Srila Prabhupada's books, understand nicely all of them? And then only I will be able to actually understand what is the Jugala Priti, the love between Radha Krishna. When will I be able to correctly understand Krishna's pastimes without getting uh, misdirected, misguided, etc. like that. So this can be our prayer. So I think with this we will stop. Please forgive me if I spoke something beyond my realization. I also seek blessings of all the devotees so that I also make advancement in my spiritual practice and try to follow whatever was spoken. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for like wonderful class. So how you started with the how the Parikshit Maharaj was very compassionate on us, and then asking the Sukadeva Goswami to further explain this analogy of the Samvada of Raghuna and Jadabharata. And then like, you mentioned about how like both indulging and suppressing the desires for sense gratification are dangerous. With the, like you give the example of suppression, like Daksha cursing Narada, like that. And there you mentioned until and unless the desire for material enjoyment gets burnt out. So then you talked about the four kinds of sannyasis. Then you talked about the transforming the anarthas as per Narottam Das. In that you mentioned all others can be detailed except the envy. Envy has to be given up. So there is no alternative or it cannot be detailed in bhakti. Then you give the example of like this plowing again and again, like Rama killing the Ravana, like cutting off the heads, but again it's coming back. So then Rama cut the root of his where the nectar stays hot. So then he died. So that's how like the mental desires has to be burnt out. And then like you talked about the Grihasthas also equally same. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciated the Grihasthas like Srivas and all those, and he gave a lot of mercy to them, whoever is connected to them also. So it's not that like Grihasthashram is less. And then you talked about at the end of this mercy. So yes, Prabhu. So in between I was on and off for some things. Yes, Prabhu. Any other devotees wants to share or ask questions or clarifications?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, as usual, a wonderful lecture. Dandapanam. This the pride you said how it can be doubted. Then is it by wearing the kantimala? You said that we are like the it's like a dog collar, and that reminds us that we are your servant. Is that like that, Prabhu?
Yes, yes, Mataji. So we are, in one sense, very feeling fortunate also. Just like if somebody gets a job in very big company, he's proud to wear his ID card. So when we wear tilak, we are proud that okay, now I am getting an opportunity to serve Krishna, and we wear kanti mala. So that way. So one that pride is actually more like feeling very fortunate that I'm serving such a great person, such a great mission, such a great acharya, like that. So that way.
You both your these analogies was given in purport is amazing, Prabhu. Like how much ever you plow, that's the weeds of the seed they remain and they sprout up. That's very nice. Thank you so much for the wonderful picture. Dandavat.
Wonderful.
And with
Hare
the
Krishna
example of
Prabhu.
the Mangala Diksha, you nicely mentioned how we should be appreciative of our devotees. So that was very nice, bro.
Yeah.
Hare
Yes.
Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat pranams.
Very
Thanks for the wonderful class, Prabhu. Prabhu, can you please explain how ISKCON came from that verse, Prabhu?
The word ISKCON means International Society for Krishna Consciousness.
Yes.
So that consciousness means mati, bhava mati, that one. Krishna
Okay.
bhakti rasa bhavana mrita matihi. So Prabhupada coined the word ISKCON from that word Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavanamrita Matihi, where our mati or consciousness is fixed on Krishna that way. So that is how that
Only that word consciousness from Matihi.
and Krishna,
Prabhu?
yes.
Yes. Thank you so much,
Thank
Prabhu.
you.
Dandavat
Hare
pranams.
Krishna.
Krishna, other devotees have any questions or clarifications?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandrat Pranams. Thanks for the wonderful class, Prabhu. Can you just explain whatever Saraswati Mataji asked, that same thing, Prabhu? I have some doubt. Can you just explain it again, Prabhu?
Okay. So this one, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So Prabhupada was saying that Krishna consciousness word is Krishna Matihi. That has come from this shloka. Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavanamrita Matihi. That way. So what Prabhupada wanted our ISKCON to be is a place where Krishna Bhakti is performed and devotees are happily relishing the mellows of devotional service, Amrita, and their mati or consciousness is fixed on Krishna like that. So that is how that has come up from.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu. I like that verse very much. Every day I recite without knowing the meaning of it, Prabhu. Thank you so much for giving the meaning.
Yes, yes, Mata. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, shall we end this one?
So you can end with the Vaishnava pranam.
Yes. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। वैष्णव ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। रुद्राज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you very much once again. Thanks all devotees for being attentive. Tomorrow we'll meet again.